and father stay in the back, be the brains behind the bond. And everything that your parents tell you a lot of times really sticks, and it can mold your whole life. So my if I had a challenge, it would be being willing to be in front, but I do love being behind and helping. And that's
Awesome. So thank you. You just brought up something that I wanted to touch base on as well, about what our parents' beliefs are, and the things that they tell us, because they are our guardians, right, for so long. It definitely hinders or propels us with different things in our life and different stages, for sure. Yeah, thank you. So Tracy, would you like to share a little bit?
Certainly. So my name is Tracy, and I have the privilege of sitting in the coaching space with my clients and my business. It's been really interesting over this lockdown period to consider what the important things have been for me, and as we move forward in this changing world. So the things that I focus on, and it's really interesting because I think we're probably going to find some real alignment here. I think understanding what our own values are as opposed to the values that we've been taught. So really coming right back to what are my values, and then creating what is my intention for this period, or for what is my intention moving forward. So starting to align those things from a really personal perspective, because I think probably a lot of people have been very rocked and will continue to be rocked and disturbed with what's going on. So it feels a privilege to me. Thank you for having this, Rosalina. Very, very beautiful opportunity to be together and talk. As I've thought around the fear question, the answer that I gave yesterday is a little bit different than the answer that I came up for myself this morning, because it's really easy to sit top level with this. But when I really ask myself the question, my fear comes back to probably what it's always been all my life about everything. How absolute is that? And it's that sense of not being enough. So that becomes my challenge as I move forward, to recognise what does that mean, how do I deal with it, and how do I create intentions that sit away from that.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. With that, what I'm going to do is just quickly, before I go round robin, I did a definition, and I just want to come through and ask you, the three questions that we had, right? So self-inquisition and powerful questions for us, or is what is your biggest fear that you are aware of? So Tracy, you just mentioned about not enough, not being enough, right? And does anybody, just like the hands up, anybody feels like they not enough? They have this similar, whatever I do is just not quite enough. Yeah. Second question, right, is where does this resistance and belief come from? Does it come from our parents? Does it come from ourselves? Does it come from our spouse? Does it come from our partners, like our previous relationships, existing or previous relationship that, maybe because they themselves feel that they are not enough, and then maybe the few things that they have and expectations of what you do, and then hence it affects you in a way that maybe that you unknowingly pick that fear from them, and then that vibration from them, and became like, then you kind of embody that. So I have had this fear of not enough, but I couldn't articulate it for a long time. I couldn't really figure out what it was until I moved away from the environment. All right, so that's the second big question. And the third one is, what do you want to release so that you can move forward and be successful personally and in your business? All right. So these are three powerful questions that I shared, right, that I want to ask and go round robin. So co-mentorship, these were some of the few things that these two powerful ladies have shared with me that I want to share with you. And I believe we all have individually and collectively have a strong power. And I know only most of you before, so I've known a little bit of your story, and I believe definitely you all have it within us. It's just how do we empower it together. All right, so Tracy responded with this when I asked. She said that She likes to say on how to put me in the center of my life in order to create balance and abundance. Right. So her value, balance, abundance. Sister Friend Mary responded with understanding your power and divine power given by way of grace is important. So I'll get her to share a little bit more about that, right? By the way of grace, what you mean by that, and how can we tap into that? Right. So as for me, I reflected that abundance is a mindset, it's an energetic frequency. We attract and act on what we believe, the reality, right? And then our reality mirrors it. So the power to switch and change our channel is definitely within us, but we have to individually learn how to find what are the tools that will work for us, right? So many people say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, or this works for me, but you can try, but ultimately it's like what works for you, how you do it. It's, your own seated power, right? Okay, so then the next part I want to ask is what is fear? So what is your fear, right? And how we have to recognize it before we can release it, right? Okay, so going forward, I'm just going to stop share for a moment. All right. Hi. So anybody wants to share first? Ready to share what is your biggest fear?
I told you.
Yeah. Okay. So if nobody, I'll nominate Rachita. If you can. Oh no, Rachita, you want to do it first? Oh no, Leanne. Okay, Leanne. She's like, I've got one. Okay, Leanne. Okay, let's go with Leanne first. Leanne, what's your biggest fear? Come on.
Well, it's always been, but my stalling point is social media marketing, but it's really the IT skills and my limitations on that and how much time that I put into it. Sometimes I feel like I'm mucking around when I'm more making things based. So I've got to try and balance that. But it is about, I suppose putting myself out there and being visible, because that's probably one of my big fears. If you go back to being brought up in childhood stuff and self-doubt, that's probably where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And just also being consistent. Like I sort of seen that I had highs and lows, but just being consistent with that belief in what I do and keep the ball rolling and being able to keep it rolling and continuing sales. So, and being able to then, with continuing sales, then I can put money into doing like monthly things that I pay for, and put yourself out there a bit much, but more. So that's always my stalling point, believing that I have got a good business that can, but now it's more flexible because I've got my interiors and my clothes and other things off that, and then that's not just me, it's a group. So not being alone as well, I suppose that's part of being visible. Being visible and getting it out there and believing in my skills and my passion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Leanne has she's a real creator. She's great skills with fashion wear, right? Creating fashion wear, drapes and blinds, and she's also an interior designer. Right? Yeah, she is.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
But at the same time, right, what's holding her back is finding that consistency and also maybe taking the balance of time, right? So you're creating, you're doing, and then you say, oh, but I've got to then, put myself out there. And we're all balancing, especially we as entrepreneurs, balancing all these roles, right? So these are your greatest fears. All right, who's next? You want to say?
Yep, I'll go ahead.
Yeah, Wichita?
I think right from when I was a kid till I came to my adult stage to then I become an entrepreneur, what the fear is to bring a point of difference. I always wanted to be different than others. I don't want to behave similar to what other people behave. Whether it is taking a business decision, whether taking an emotional relationship decision, or whether being creating like the motion when everybody is into something, how can I be a point of difference to others? And where's that something that I can actually add value to someone else's life as well? That's always and when I say that, it is not easy to bring that point of difference and understand how you can do that. So it's always a journey to to start understanding how people behave, what's something that you respond that with, what are your business actions, are they responding to what you are doing at the moment, or is there something that you can improve to do better, what's the and when it comes to business, obviously what your competitors are doing, what you aren't doing, how your customers are reflecting to your emails and things like that. So there are minor things, it becomes a journey, but I love it. I love to do that.
Okay, so you are definitely a real analytical person. Like every single transaction, you're constantly analyzing it. Sounds like it. So is that your biggest fear, like trying to figure out and be comfortable in that position, and what you bring is a point of difference and it's a good value, that that you sometimes it also because of the analysis and self-doubt. Okay, all right. So with
Yes,
that,
it's like yeah, it becomes more when you, so I take it in that way, that if you pick something, become confident on that, that's where you can bring a point of difference. So that's how I do. It's fear as well as it works for me.
okay, all right. So just being aware, right? Being aware, but at the same time finding that balance of being aware and being at peace that what you're doing is of good value, that you're not
Yes.
having to rethink about having that doubtful thought of is it actually yeah, okay. So that's good. Yeah, thanks for that. So maybe for that question later, Tracy, you might want to answer some of that.
Yeah,
how
certainly.
you forward with those tools. I think you will be very helpful with that. All right, Sharon, would you like to share? What are some of your?
So long as there's not another Sharon, am I the only Sharon here?
You're the only Sharon here.
Oh, that's all right. Because I can only see 4 people along the top, and I know there's more people here.
So yeah, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 of us here.
Yeah. For me, when I'm in my flow, I don't feel that there's blocks going on. And then every so often I get, I have like self-doubt coming, and then I start sort of talking to myself in a way that is not productive. So I sort of start saying things like, what am I even doing? Why do I think I can do that? There's plenty of people that can do it better than me, and things like that. And then I start doubting myself more. So I sort of, but most of the time I'm sort of on this thing where I think, no, I'm all good. And then every so often this thing just comes in, and it tends to make me a little bit procrastinate a bit. And so then I will, my reality will show me that I'm not up to it. And so I'll maybe not meet a deadline when I should, or not do as good a job as what I was expecting to do. And then I'll confirm to myself that I'm not up to it. So it's sort of, yeah, but it's not there all the time. It's just, yeah. And so it was good that this workshop came up, because I had been thinking about what was it, and what was this thing. And sometimes when I'm actually maybe getting a bit of a break somewhere, and I'm actually becoming more successful, that's when I'll tend to put the self-doubt in there too, almost like afraid of being successful. And it's sort of like I'm doing my thing, and I'm in my thing, and then all of a sudden I might be doing really well, and I'm like, I can't do really well, and it's like, and then I go, yeah, and then a whole lot of stuff. I sort of almost feel like a freeze happens. It's like a freeze, and it's just like a freeze, and yeah, so that's what I've come up with when I have tuned into it.
Right. No, thank you. Yeah, so it's quite interesting what you're saying. Like you're like in a good flow. So you're like in a good flow. Everything is feeling nice and comfortable, nice and well, and like business-wise, sales is coming through. And then I know that Sharon also has got a teaching head on with a few other another role as a teacher, right? So what do you think would be the causation of you think that you're not deserving of success?
I would say childhood
Childhood
beliefs, and what you know, in my childhood it was I had to overcome as I grew older about being able to dream, because when I was young I was given the message that I couldn't have anything, so I just stopped dreaming. And so as an adult I've had to really work on that, but definitely it comes back to something around there about not being worthy of it.
Okay. Right. Thank you
Sort
for
of
that.
know where it comes from, know what it is, but don't really know then what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Thanks for sharing that. Right. We'll work through some tools that we can work on in our next session. Right. So we're just taking notes here. This is Stephanie and
Yeah.
also it's also sharing that the story that you're not alone with that. A lot of us have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Thank you. Mai, you wanna talk about share about who you are, where you are coming from, and what your greatest fears are that you want to release?
I'm a house painter, and I take day off, and then I went to surfing this morning, and my hair is wet. And yeah, my biggest fear is I think I care too much, and I always worry about what people think, or if I say something, maybe I hurt someone, or just thinking too much. So sometimes I'm tired from this, and stop express myself. So this is really hard.
Thanks for coming in, Mai. Yeah, thanks for sharing the time. It is hard times sometimes, but recognizing, you know, why, where is it coming from? You know, what fear is, where is it coming from? Why is it?
I think from childhood.
Childhood too.
I'm sorry.
No,
I always cry.
Right? Crying is good. Crying is a release.
I think I'm the oldest one, so I have a younger sister and a younger brother, and then I always like maybe need attention from my parents or something. I don't know. And then I just stop express myself instead of like what I want to do or what I want to say, and just thinking what mom think or what my dad think. I don't want to hurt or how to say.
But other
always thinking ahead sometimes, and then thinking negative. But I don't know. Last few years, since I moved to Lisbon in New Zealand, and then I feel more like being myself. And this time, like during the lockdown, it's nice to see myself and dig in deep into myself. So what this fear came from, and what I want to be, like better or fear free. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity to share this with me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. All right, so there's quite a common thread, like deep-seated belief from our childhood values, could be our culture as well, where we're brought up. So having that, I guess the protectionism or the fear of like not wanting to hurt other people, but can we be unapologetically ourselves, but at the same time still find that balance, that what sits within us, what we're doing is actually helpful for others at the same time as we serve ourselves, but not being selfish about it. Right? We're going to share some tools about it. So thanks for coming through with that. All right. Okay. Jessica, Eileen. Okay. Yeah, Jessica. I'm trying to unmute you.
Myself. Gone. I think I'm unmuted. My husband has just perfectly timed weed whacking. So if you can hear that, that's what's happening. I'm in a place of gratitude. For me, when this question comes up, there's actually awareness around quite a few fears. One is the fear that like I'm not good enough, right? That deep-seated belief structure. Another is that actually the largeness that I know that I am is also true. So it's this both pieces. So what is that quote about being afraid of our own light, right? Like it's not the darkness that we're afraid of, it's actually what is possible. And so I have some fear around that. Like when I fully step into that, what does that actually mean for my life? What responsibility then becomes true? How does that change the current relationships that I have? Like there's, playing small has its benefits. Being in like the middle of the pack, right? Like that's like the safest place to be, right? Like if you're going to get attacked, it's going to be either the people in the front or the people in the back, or, and so definitely culturally and in my cells, I have an understanding that if I stay right in the middle where like I'm doing enough, then I stay safe. And so there is definitely this, in the past, been a programming that to lead the pack is very risky. And I think that partly is also about being in a female body, that there's some risk about being a female in the front of the pack. And so, and I also know that like when I tap into my divine being, I know that I actually am best in service when I lead. And so it's all of that. So I do life coaching, and then Eileen and I have, we offer workshops as Creative Connections in Zed, where we do mindfulness and provide opportunities for people to be creative, and really trusting that imaginative outlet that is part of our core beings. And part of my process is being really transparent about this internal voice that's so sneaky for me. That's something that is like seemingly innocent in a transaction, and how quickly I can get triggered. So I guess there's a lot of fears happening to sum it up. And their childhood, they're in my cells. And they're energetic. They're, part of a karmatic agreement that I am releasing and integrating those parts, those belief structures. So on all sorts of levels.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. All right, so not playing it too small, but neither wanting to be too bright, afraid of your own brightness. So if you think of it this way, right, like about this about dating, illuminating. So if you are shining bright, right, you can always pass the light to shine on for others. And I had this as well myself. So for many times, even when I was teaching dancing and all that stuff, I could like, I know I'm a good dancer, but I didn't actually really want the limelight to be on me. I didn't, for a long time, I didn't even put my own picture, my bio picture, or I'm the instructor on my website. I always have like the group or the people around me. It's not about me. So when I started to think about it myself, I was like, why is it like that? And I was like, the reality, the penny drop was like, because for me as a young child, because I grew up with my dad who had polio. So when we were out and about, like walking around, when I have to wait for him, and then when he falls, we're always people always looking at us, right? And then especially then fell, and me and my mom were there, we're waiting for him, or he had to be helped, and it's like it creates like a commotion, and like, people always watching us. And as a young girl, I'm like, why are people watching us? And I didn't want that. So hence, like growing up as an adult person, right, I just really didn't like to be in the limelight at all. But I overcome it through my dance, in a sense. This is actually my dance. But the reason why I do it is because I love connecting, helping other women connect with themselves through their body and rise in their confidence. So that purpose and that drive was stronger than the fear of being seen. So I didn't associate that. So in my other life, in the other that I am, being marketer and consultant, I really didn't put myself out there. I didn't want to be seen. And then, so I always hide behind a logo or other people's picture. But as I come through and I recognize that fear, and we're like, oh, that's why I had that, big fear that I recognized. It took me a while to release it, even after I recognized it. But I went like, you know what? I've got to walk my talk, right? Got to empower myself and walk my talk and say that, I'm not afraid of what people, why we should be afraid of what people are thinking. They have their own fears. Right, so it's more about who you're wanting to serve and what you're wanting to help others. That value comes up stronger than it is. So even though you're shining brightly, you can always still shine a light on others, and you're shining collectively. Yeah. So anyways, that was what I wanted to share. Okay. So Eileen, do you want to talk about your fears?
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for sharing. It's been very lovely to hear you all. And yeah, so for me, it's very related to what everybody has said. It's always amazed me how when we get groups together, no, it's never a coincidence. We carry similar things. So for me, I wrote it down, is the fear of success, fear of receiving abundance, and fear of being seen. So the fear of success and receiving abundance is like, I feel if I don't know how to have lots of money in my account. I feel if I don't know how to be successful, and like my body doesn't align with knowing and feeling that, I don't know, that's what a little bit like that. And then yeah, of being seen, again, is the self-worth, you're not good enough, why are you showing yourself out there, and just a little bit like that. So yeah.
Thank you, Eileen. So Eileen and Jessica, they come together and they create this beautiful creative connection program, and they have done a few live videos I've seen. But I guess it's like you're kind of at the point of which, like, how do we get it to release our fears collectively and move forward, right? So that you can truly help more people with what you guys do, what you ladies do, right? So you were saying fear of abundance. How does abundance actually look like and feel like, right? Okay. So before I pass the time to Sister Fran Marie, she could definitely help with that. For both of them, who will share what they have heard. We have Cheryl. Cheryl, you want to share your fear? What's your biggest fear? Oh, is it Cheryl? The other person who's logged in with the under Sister Fran Marie? You. Yeah, that's you. Hi, you want to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Hill.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
Okay. Do you want to share if you have you got any biggest fears that is hindering you, that might be hindering you with your moving to your personal or business success, if you have a business, otherwise personal success?
Well, what I can say is my biggest fear is like I overthink a lot, and another thing is I don't. My thing is I'm thinking I'm not doing doing my best, even though I am. I have this thought that I need to do more what I'm doing. It made me feel like, is this satisfying to others, but that's my fear. And to overcome that, I know I had to just put my work more, just put it out and just have a belief in myself that it is good, and don't overthink of what overthinking of what my thoughts are, and and just go with that. So that's the only thing that you know that I need to really focus on. Don't think it's not good enough, and it is. You know, because don't worry about what others, you know, might what I think what others might say. Just put forth an effort. What I think is best. You know, just do my best that I can do.
Mhm. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. I think this is a common thread.
Mm-hmm.
We constantly think that we are what we say or what we do, is it going to be hurtful? Is it good enough? If it's not good enough, we can always be open-minded and say, well, if this time is not quite as good enough, but open to positive criticism, if it's as long as it's constructive, how can we improve, right? So it's kind of like that journey of gradual improvement. Thank you for that, Jennifer. All right, so I'm going to pass the time to Sister Friend Marie and then to Tracy. And I'm sure all of you ladies have got good stories to share and picking up the themes that we have shared about.
All righty. I'm going to make a statement that my grandfather said a long time ago when I was a little girl. And he said, leave it to a woman to mess up a good job. They just do too much. So I wanted to start with that because men, not all men, but most men have a way of compartmentalizing what their job and what they do. Women, by the nature of their wombs, I'm sorry, but by the nature of our wombs as being nurturers, we're constantly thinking of everything that needs to be done and everything that's right because normally we're raising children or taking care of children. So we can't just go walking down the road. We have to think what's down the road might attack us. So by our very nature being really perceptive about everything that needs to be pulled into place to make everything okay is one of the reasons, as my grandfather so happily said, women ruin jobs. And they also ruin themselves by working too hard and not learning how to pace themselves in their bodies. We are living in most of these cultures in what we call male dominant mindsets. And then push it even further to be well, it even happened before Europe existed. Patriarchal male thinking is a different tempo. Not saying women aren't better, stronger, or anything. It's just a different tempo. And so what happens when I'm hearing all of you speak, we unconsciously have accepted male role models, even if it's on an energetic level, for who we are in perfection. And when we've done enough and when we haven't done enough. In a different time or maybe in a different culture, even in certain cultures where women were honored for what they brought to the table, a lot of what we're talking about would not necessarily exist in us. And Rosalia and someone else, maybe Tracy mentioned, even in our genes and our cells, genetic memory. I'm going to read just a couple of things that I heard come from each of you as in my heart, kind of like the vibration of what you were saying. And here, I'm just going to read it. I'm not going to say who I got it from unless you really want to know. But one was fear of being attacked and being different, and that attack is very important because in cultures that don't love you as a female or even as an individual, you can be attacked if you're in pack, P-A-C-K, like wolf pack mentality cultures. So if you can't keep up, if you don't fit in, then you get wiped out, as opposed to tribal, where when you're born, they say, oh, that's going to be a great basket weaver. She dances beautifully. Oh, she can decorate a house. And they give you your name to go with your grace and who you are.
Mhm.
And so a lot of this turmoil, and then let's go to the next one was God. This is what I heard, Phil, from what they were saying, what she was saying. God, why don't they love me for who I am?
Mm.
Not who they're molding me to be. Not who they're telling, from the moment I took birth and I sang out my name in a cry, that was me. And then I learned to be the other me, the me that goes with the name that my parents gave me. So I don't want, I mean, I had some, I'm just going to read them real quick and I won't talk too long. You can always come back to me. But another thing that I heard is rejection of me is a big theme. And it says, I am afraid that I will not be loved, was another thing I heard coming through. I will not be loved.
Mm.
And it goes deep. And the other thing that I heard is, I don't know how to be okay without connections. Now, I don't exactly know what that means to each of you, but can you be okay without being a part of a tribe or connected in one culture and society? And that's kind of a worry. If I don't follow the path, I don't dress like everyone else does, will I be okay? And there were other vibrations coming through, but the one that I really love was, I'm afraid of me because I'm too big for my body. My spirit is enormous. And so underneath everything we're saying, there's this river of consciousness that is trying to survive and be okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Sister Fran Marie. All right. How does that sit with you? You as in collective you, collective us. Tracy?
Yeah, really interesting. Thank you for just all acknowledging, and it's really hard to do, isn't it, when we ask to say, what is my vulnerable? What does that look like, and what happens if I say the words? So the things that I picked up, and thank you everybody for sharing, and the questions that I have that I hope may have some resonance back at you, whether it's at a personal level or whether it's at our business level. It's how will you know when you are enough? How will you know when you have a good business? So part of the things that maybe we're negating responsibility for is, I am the best person to define that. So when I start to learn to define what is enough and when my business is a good business or when my life is a good life, as I start to do that work from my own personal space, I come up with the definitions rather than waiting for others to define what it is that I do. I heard the word selfish being used, and when I hear that, I think one of the challenges is we need to put ourselves in the center of our own life in order to bring everything else into line. So often what I will think of or refer to as selfish is actually me becoming self-aware and putting myself in the center of my own life in order to create what is important as we move forward. So I think really challenging our language becomes important here. What are the words that play in my head? What's the self-talk that's going on that's limiting me, and how do I challenge that? Because I'm in charge of what this says. You're not in charge of what this says. You've got words that go in my ear, but I'm in charge of what my brain says to me about me. So really thinking about who is the authentic self that I want to present, what is the self-talk that I need in order to present that person to the world, whether we're talking about our life or whether we're talking about our businesses. So that's that authentic self, and really understanding I define that.
Mm-hmm.
So stop negating responsibility for others to tell me what my authentic self should be. How about I make that decision, and then I can decide how to present that. Probably the biggest message I think that I have is around using that word fear. And my message around it is feel the fear. Don't try not feel it, and then make the decision about, I'm going to feel the fear and I'm going to do whatever it is anyway by, and then create the actions that allow us to walk forward, because that fear may always stay with us. You know, Rosa, when you're talking about the dancing and being in the center and presenting yourself in the center, the fear never really goes away, because that's not the place that you most want to be, being in the background. And somebody else talked about being in the middle of the pack. It doesn't mean that we can't go forward, but also going forward doesn't mean that that's the place that I most want to be. So sometimes that fear is always going to stay with us, but it's stopping it from crippling us from moving forward. So feel the fear and use that fear as a driver rather than as a chaser. So I use the energy that comes from that in the most positive and productive way. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Tracy, for sharing that. Yeah. How does that sound for you, ladies? Shall we discuss about some tools? I just want to bring forward what I heard about, you were saying, Jessica, you were saying about, oh, actually not Jessica, Eileen, you were talking about how does abundance feel like, right? How does abundance feel like, and what should it feel like in order for us to track that? Right. So feeling the fear and knowing that we always have, it's always going to be there, but as we move forward and be comfortable with it and go like, well, I'm doing a great job as much as I can, and I'm moving forward and I'm learning, I'm doing it better. And after 5 years, 10 years, or whatever in our journey of our entrepreneurship as we evolve, we're still wanting to feel like we are abundantly having good energy to move forward, so that we can still attract that. So what does abundance actually feel like, and why do we fear abundance? Right, so Eileen had this question, right? What does abundance mean to you? Right, so abundance for me means that I have enough time to do the things that I enjoy. I have good balance. I have enough work that I flow through me that I could share with my community, at the same time that the works with, I guess, for business, being a consultant, that helps supports others, that they can also move forward with their success, right? But helping them define what it is for them and move forward, and putting the right tools that help to magnify it, in that way. So digital marketing side, magnifying your message. But at the same time, that I also have that spiritual side. What does actually abundance mean for you? So if we talk about balance, for me, it's about, you're creating something that's good. You want to attract a good financial income coming through, because we're all in business, right? Or at least in not business, a form of work, financial income coming through. But at the same time, sometimes, like what Eileen is saying, actually, I do not want this financial abundance. What does it mean for me? Does it mean that I have to have less time spent with maybe my kids? Or does it mean I have less time? It becomes like an equation. You're feeling like you're balancing the equation. So how can we feel that we have that abundance of what we are wanting? And maybe it could also be abundance for me, abundance with the balance with the world. Like, how can I contribute back to the environment and people, in the things that I'm doing, right? That equation, and then be happy about that. That you feel yourself. If you can feel yourself, then it sort of overflows out with others, right? Instead of saying, oh, you know, some people have more and more than they keep to themselves, but then you don't want that. It's, oh, I don't want to I don't want to feel abundant as well, because it feels like it's selfish. So maybe we'll just have a round robin to define for each other, for yourself, and share with each other what actually does abundance mean. If we can remove ourselves from fear, right, the lack, not enough, into actually we have enough, we can be full, and we can shine, and we can help others. Yeah, Jessica, go for it.
So I just want to speak into, I've had that thought about, if I'm abundant, then that means that I'm selfish. And that, to me, it just clicked that in that belief is an inherent scarcity, because it's saying that there's not actually enough for everyone to be abundant. So thank you for that. And for me, abundance is abundance is co-creating with our infinite selves and source, and there's enough for all, and to do all that my heart desires and is on my divine purpose.
Awesome. All right, really good definition. Okay, Mai, you want to share? Go for it.
Sorry, I'm not used to this Zoom.
So good.
I don't know, for me, okay, can I go to 8 up?
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
I need to listen.
Yeah, just recollect, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Karen, again. Ian, you ready?
Yep.
Balance mean for you.
Well, I suppose me. I think, you know, definitely being authentic is being happy, deeply happy, and knowing that I'm doing the right thing in my life, in my authentic self. And then the money, well, you know, having, I suppose, abundance. People think of money, but it is important, but it's being really truly happy with what I'm doing with my time, and having that balance as well. But and being able to be who I am, which I've been searching all my life for, working out my dreams and hopes, and actually having some, and having, you know, and also, you know, be able to within that be not just pressuring myself too much, and being, because that's what I've been trying to find. So for me, it's trying to balance that, and it might seem across that I'm being competitive, but I sort of am, but it's more with myself, I think. But being able to, accomplish, and having hopes and dreams and accomplish them and make them my sort of life's work, and then also, you know, the end of it really, and the good special bit is people appreciating that, and and people that get it and understand, and then the money comes as well, I suppose, and the flow of everything, which makes quite things really happy and enjoyable, and fun, and keeping it fun.
Yeah.
You know, not putting too many pressures on. But, but I suppose being able to have everything that you want. I think I probably grew up a bit like you can't have everything. Maybe, or everything your own way, maybe, I'm not sure, but
So Sister Friend Marie, because we're just wanting to round up a few more things before we end off today. So thanks for sharing that, Leanne. So I'd like for you ladies to think about and sit into your space and time, right? What does abundance mean for you? And if you have found this session helpful, by collectively sharing and hearing what other people, you know, what this collective community is I just want to share with you a quick snippet before I go. When I put this thing out there, I had quite a few people who were interested, and then some people also were really resistant. They're like, oh, how is this format of this meeting like? Are we going to share our vulnerabilities? Are we going to, talk about discussion? How much time have I got? So in that sense, right, it's before you go into something else, right, there is already a resistance. So if we can think about what are some of the things that we want to attract and achieve, receive in our life, be it for ourselves or for others or for the community, right? It's like, what can we do to release our resistance? Right, release the resistance and resist the release. Not say the fear, like you say, the fear is going to be there, but once you get past it, it sort of dissipates.
So no, it's not as powerful.
It's not powerful. Yeah, we're not giving power to the fear.
I did like what you said, Tracy, about feeling the fear and just embracing it. And that's what you say. I really like that.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Well, yes, and yeah, and
just recognize that the fear just stops being the chaser, and we become the driver, using the energy. Yeah.
Right, and for my, sorry, for my
can you please,
self-doubt,
Tracy, write down in the comment, please?
Sorry?
Can I
write it in the comment for me?
Oh, yeah, sure, write in the comment.
Certainly.
Yeah, and you ladies,
when I learn how to do it.
Chats, right? Yeah, you ladies have started to share chats and who you are, what you do. You want to follow each other, see what each other do. I will copy this chat and I'll put it on in a chat group in our event page. And then if you want to share what you ladies do, follow each other and then see what each other does on our Revive Me Woman in Business page. That's what this is about. All right, it's an open media space. Right. And I don't, there are a lot of other social media groups that, like, if there's competitive people, they tend not to accept or whatever. This is not what it's about. All right. And I guess it's like, this is a space that I believe that I have faith in everybody. It's all about, just collaboratively helping and to support each other. Yeah. It's more about that for me. Okay.
Selena, do I have time to say one thing about abundance?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to say it really quick. Over the years, I really have mentored a lot of people from the start of their business on up. Everything from purchasing the building, getting the staff, etc. And we have to work through those fears we've been talking about. Or the bank won't give me the money. This. One of the most important things I feel for us all to learn is the simple way to put it. What's in your magic medicine bag? What do you carry around with you that helps you overcome everything, whether it be flower essence, essential oils? If you have issues about money being the root of all evil, as many cultures have been told money corrupts money, then look at money differently. Don't say one source was going to give me the money. Just say what I need will be provided, and let it come whatever it comes, with money or someone handing it to you. I've had people walked up and say, hey, you can have this building. It's a nice building. I just bought it. I don't need it. You can have it. But if I'm sitting there believing that only money can give me that building, then how does that building have to come? By me thinking that one thing. So if we open up, like when Rosalia dances so beautifully, if we open our lives up like that flow and allow the abundance to come how it wants, you just hold the sacred thought of what you want and ask gently and lovingly for it, and then let go. Because when you fear or you worry, it's a negative prayer, I think is what they said. It's an opposite prayer. Stop worrying. Say what you want and let it flow into you however it wants to go. I say all the time, Divine Spirit says you're going to get $10,000 next week. I can't get $10,000. I don't know anybody that's going to give me $10,000. My credit's not good. I said, well, there goes the 10,000. As long as it comes from good and grace, what difference does it make how it comes to you?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Friend Marie. So if any one of you would like to follow Sister Friend Marie or be in touch again, you're most welcome. And please, give us a comment on whatever sharing that you've received from here. And if you like to, do this again in maybe 1 month's time, we will have a chit chat, in a space. I just felt like really called to do it. We did have co-mentoring sessions that ran quite a few years with Leanne coming on board, and we stopped for a while because I also had time that I needed to have my own space. So I just thought that I've got the energy and the space, and I think it would be nice to pull like-minded people to be able to share. So it's not about that I'm just feeling abundant with the time and this timing to put this together or to get you all together.
Before it gets crazy with level 2 and everyone gets too busy and rushing around.
Yeah, and it's not about, I think this is more than just being the lockdown, but the lockdown just gives us time and space to mull over a few things and to actually digitally connect authentically more. Right. So we have done that, but now it's more like we have to use it. Right. And then going forward from that, things will change. Right. Frequency of that. All right. So thank you for that, Sister Friend Marie, Tracy, and every one of you. If you want to have a quick sharing, a quick slide, just leave us a comment. But I'm just for the interest of time, I know some of you want to get going. So I hope that you have learned some tools, right, that we can move forward with. So it's believing that we're not being selfish if we are wanting to flow with our life through abundance, right? And being able to satisfy ourselves deeply could help fill our cup and then be able to help fill others as well. Right? So I hope a good afternoon, good Friday evening. Thursday evening for you, Sister Friend Marie. Right? And then I will share your connections with all. And if you'd like to come in, maybe the next time we'll think about the next topic of maybe flowing into abundance. And feel free to just check in with what each other does. All right. Have a good rest of your Friday, and we will feel the fear and do it anyways. But we'll sit in our own powerful divine selves, right? With grace.
With grace.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. How are you, Leanne?
Oh, am I still here?
Yeah. All right.
I don't know what's